Hey, good afternoon, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, the Ring and Hire Show. Hey, today's discussion, how do you keep the good employees for your retention and, the high cost of turnover? And that's what we're going to be discussing. And as usual, we'll be right back after this. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, if you don't know what these books are, Recruiting for and Retaining Employees for Dummies, I'm telling you, you can really learn a lot from this stuff. And the thing about it is even though it's a couple years old, everything's the same. Nothing ever changes in the world of staffing unless with everything going on now with COVID. But I kind of like this part starting out with was the high cost of turnover. I mean, you could have everything you want. You can even have a higher pay rate and they'll turn over. You get some of these bigger companies that might offer $25, $30 an hour. Come on down, start, right? Big bonus. And the retention rate, half of them don't even make it, or even a quarter of them. 10% might get through to get a lot of those bonuses, but you don't really see it. To have a company that pays very high in the entry level position, it's hard. It's really hard. But if you sell the company, like we always say, sell the company and the job, the money will come. If you're like average now, it's like 15 to 18. Some companies are 25 and above. And I don't know how long they can sustain that, especially in hospitality and restaurants and, your food, for like McDonald's and all this stuff like that. That's the cost is outside of it. Crazy. But some of it is, and I like some of these chapters, wasted time and money. That's true. You imagine all the wasted time and money that you do. The damage to productivity. Listen, when you have high turnover and people are looking around, people are leaving, that's not a good thing also. So you really got to concentrate and nail that down, what you're going to look at. So look at where you could try to really keep them there and make them happy. Find out what's making the people that have been there for 5 years. Why do you like this company? They're your best ones to look at getting referrals. Hey, Edmund, thank you. I see you're watching on Facebook. But look what it does to morale. Again, people leaving, the newer ones coming in, like orientations, and they see this, they're going to pick up on that right away. If you use a staffing agency, the fees for even direct hires, listen, for professional services, and you're going a good direct hire and you've got to promise them 30, 60, 90 days, you pay a lot of money. And then 5-6 months later, they leave. So you just lost out. And that happens a lot because normally in the professional services, within 6 months, they're going to start saying, and they're like, I don't know if I want to be here up to a year. I'm not sure. Entry level, listen, I am telling you, you got to make them happy from the time they start to the end they go for that first week. Really deep dive into like, why are these candidates leaving? They come in, then they leave at lunchtime and they don't come back. When the market starts to tighten up, that might be a little bit reduced. And now with the surplus, the bonus that everybody's collecting, stimulus. I'm not sure really what's going to happen there. There's going to be a high spike for about 2 weeks, but it's not the answer right now. Everybody thinks that, oh, that stimulus has been taken away. Don't count on that. Again, you might pick up 10, 15, 20 employees, but don't count for that, because I like this part here where it says a revolving door. People are less loyal to companies now than they were like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You had people staying with companies for a long time. Now, to have somebody say you work 25 years at a company, whew, you better be freaking good. 25 years, you're not going to see those people anymore that have 40 years at a company that just retired. Slim, very slim margin. They're saying now you could have up to 7 jobs within your career time. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to go 7 times moving. There's a lot of the waste. If you break it down, everybody says, oh, it doesn't cost companies that much. Man, when you look at the time it takes recruiters and companies, right, to write the job descriptions, all that time, and then it's got to get approved by people. The advertising costs. I mean, the radio ads, the billboards, the social media, you're talking the job fairs, you got 4 or 5 people. On top of that, the virtual ones, you still have people behind that. Interview time, all the time that you spend calculating, interview all your employees, that adds up over, and you could have 3 to 4 recruiters. You got to times out by 3. Agency fees, listen, you're paying for that. If you hired a staffing company, you're paying, but they need to make money also, because that's what they do. Some people say staffing is high, the cost. Listen, when you add all these things up, especially even referral bonuses now, I believe in referral bonuses. That's your top thought to help people, that I believe, because if you have 100 people, they're your recruiters. And if those 100 people are happy, they're going to bring their family members in. They're going to bring their friends in, because you're going to give them $100, $200, $300, $400 and unlimited. So if that person brings those candidates in, give them the bonus. It's going to save you a lot of money, because all these other things, even travel expenses, when people drive around to job fairs, that costly. Being away from the office, drug screen, background checks, another screening. When you start adding those drug screens up, going over to the hospitals or the swabs and the background checks, it's not cheap, especially when you're doing it 10, 15 a day for having a couple people, professional services, it's still expensive. You got to run everything that you need. And then the cost of keeping up on your website. I pay for mine. It's nonstop. If you want your website to get out there, you're going to pay. Simple as that. You're going to pay for all that website upkeep. It's not cheap, because your marketing department, or if you're a smaller company, you got to take all that time, and people don't realize time is money. So all that time that you're sitting there working on that's an hour, 2, say 3, 4 hours a week. Add that, whatever, all this other stuff, training expenses. So now you have all these candidates coming in for peak season, 2, 3 times a week. You're doing orientations, same thing over and over and over. But if you can just cut like a quarter of that out of there, a little bit, you got to concentrate on something, because when you look at it at the end of the day, the morale, like I said, the stress of everybody working longer hours, because they have to pick up all the slack that the job doesn't get complete, because some of the logistics, it has to move, and it's going to move regardless. They're going to get it out as fast as they can. Listen, sometimes, and I'm just being honest, sometimes it is out of your control. Can I say that I can find 100 people, 50, 60, but to reach that, if you're going to say you're going to fill those orders to a T, you really got to put that out there and say, I'm not sure, because when they calculate the cost of lost employees, you have your cost per hire, then you got to do all your recruiting expenses, which that is, and the total number of employees hired over a year. You break all this down, it is high and high and high. We talked about, I like these books. We talked about swallowing the agency fees. We talked about that. If you're not utilizing a staffing company, it's still costly, because you got recruiters that you're paying for. And for management and everybody within the companies to take care of it all. I like this part here, make your employees love you. But, starting off, listen, when you have that orientation, right? That first week, I've said, is the most important time. If your supervisor would call and reach out to you, hey, welcome, the first day they work, reach out at the end of the day, bring all the candidates over. Come on over here. Let's talk a minute. What did you like about the job? Is everybody happy? Some of them might be quiet. They're the ones that you might be able to talk, off to the side, but watch what they're doing. See, look, you'll get an idea whether they're going to like it or not. The first couple of days, give it some time. Everybody's nervous, not sure what they're doing. They got stressed trying to figure out what they're going to learn. But if you're on the floor with logistics, I love this idea in here is to have a mentor. So not only on your orientation, when you're having all your candidates within the office, right? Say 10 of them, and you're talking to them, and you got to have somebody that's really full of energy, happy, smiley, not somebody that's just tired looking and, okay, here's the paper, sign this. Make them feel wanted and work with them. Have a mentor that those people can go up to and say, hey, how do I do this? Or where did they say was a break room? Or where do you use the restroom? Little things like that. Where do you park? You need to show them everything much as you can. And that's going to make them feel more comfortable because you're not just like a number. You're not just like, well, we're bringing in 25 people, just put them out on the floor. Listen, that is not the way you want to do it. If you want to succeed, listen, if you want to just fill bodies, and I hate that word bodies, fill the bodies, body warmers, listen, people are people and they're going to make choices, right? And so are you. So if they're not happy and you've tried for that week and they leave, see what their exit interviews, give them a call and just say, hey, if they answer or email, hey, can you let us know what didn't you like about the job? Tell me, be honest. Because I believe if you can do that and if you can get them to answer, you might see them the reason why. You might find out there's a bad boss on there that, like there's bosses, they broke it down to where, say you have like 4 management within the whole 24 hours. And if on that second shift, let's just say 20 people out of 50 only last, but yet, 40 out of 50 on first shift. You see what I'm saying? So you might be able to talk to the manager, say, hey, what's going on? They're all leaving on you. You can't, here's the facts. Look, you have people walking out the door. What's going on? What are you doing? Or if there's an issue, let's fix it. That's one of the best ways I can tell you. And just to be honest, they have, like I said, these things were from years ago. So they had most popular benefits, right? More social benefits, 46% people, right? More flex time options. I like that. It's hard in logistics when you're having 500 to 1,000 employees to flex time. That's hard. So that's more in the professional services and, office personnel, customer service and above reps. And it's hard. You can't just have 2 people not coming in and you do that. You can't do that for everybody. That's hard. And you gotta be really careful. Performance bonuses. I believe in this. If it's a fair system, some people have favorites, which listen, I've learned through the years that when you have your team, there might be 1 or 2, maybe that are just negative and feel that way. But don't ever count them out. And what I mean by that is learn from them. See what's wrong with them. See, they're your ones that really can tell you sometimes what's going on. But they could be your favorite employees too, because they come to work every day. They take all the overtime they can. So you really don't want to lose, but don't ever pass somebody just because you don't like them. It's not the way you work. As a leader, and you have your team, you treat everybody as the same, and you have to agree upon that. There's no other way. You need to do it. It's hard. This person might be wise. This one might be cracking up something in a meeting, but you confront that. If he's been a long-term or she's been a long-term. Casual dress days. This is for office personnel. They want more days they can just dress casual. Higher raises. man, everybody's getting a raise now. And what's happening is you have candidates that are working on the floor already. Employees, 50 to 100, right? Now everybody's putting these bonuses and sign-on bonuses. But what about your employees that you have now? That is one of the most important things you need to look at, because you're giving somebody $500 to show up and come to work. Okay, that's great. But the people that have been there, I know things have changed because of COVID, pre-COVID, after COVID, whatever you want to say. We got the new thing coming out, variant, whatever. But you got to take care, right here is important, take care of the employees you have now, and the rest will follow. They should be your top priority, first of all. Keep them happy, just like I said, keep them happy. Bring your ones in. If you're giving a bonus, you got to look at sometimes the people within. Make that referral bonus from them a little bit higher. Here it says job sharing options. People like that. Employee entertainment and service discounts. Listen, they're awesome tools that nobody really utilizes a lot. You get a list, and some companies will sign in, from renting a car to, restaurants that contribute. You can get a gift certificate. Look at doing things like that. Maybe here, take your family out to dinner. Pick out that person every 2 weeks, somebody that stood out, and say, call them up in front of a meeting and say, here, take your family out to dinner on us. Those things really work well. Some people say, well, you favorite. There's always something negative that somebody's going to say something. But if you stay positive, don't let that negative person take you to that space too. If your team is excited, you've gotten that record, you know what? You've really showed them, and then you got that one person or two. Don't let them drag them down also, because you're going to see it on their faces. Be happy. Make it a fun environment as much as you can, Here, comp time. Listen, comp time is great. Again, it's hard to do it within entry-level positions because it has to be filled all the time. Versus your professional services, you have a little bit more leniency because you're in an office environment and it's okay if a person's off here and there, somebody else is covering it. So I think you understand there. Employees allowed to bring pets in the office. Listen, nothing surprises me anymore. If they allow that, besides remote work and letting you bring in your dogs, good luck with that one. But that's at a 2%, so I don't think it's that much. We talked about the orientation. This is important too. Equip your new employees with all the essentials, right? That means when those new employees start, you have everything they need. You don't want to have to wait, right? Have everything that you need, like in storage here, whatever you want to call it. You give that to them, because if you have to wait 2 or 3 days to do that, that's another hard pill too, because it just takes time over and over. Employees, we talked about that. New employees, make them feel like they're part of the team in the beginning. Just because they've only been there for a week, call them out. Call them out if they've been doing a great job. Say to them, when you're in that meeting and around in the morning, if you're doing stretches, some companies do, they all get out there and do exercises. And listen, that's the fun time. That is the fun time of having that. Free lunches, doing cookouts. You see more and more of that right now, the cookouts. Great way to be able to take that half hour or 40 minutes during lunch and show them management, everybody's cooking the food, and just have a good time with it, because people really like that. It shows you that they care. So, and another one that I wanted to talk, and I got a couple more minutes here, is preventing burnout. We all know some people work so much, they get burned out. And what I mean by that is if you're putting 65, 70, 80 hours a week, and your team, they're going to start to be able to see it. You're going to be more tired. You're going to jump back when somebody says something. Your production actually goes down. You might think it goes up, but sometimes when you're burned out, you don't get as much done as you think you do. And you can see that. And after a while, that person just does not want to do this stuff. They just don't want to do it anymore. They've lost that passion. So you need to back out and say, hey, what can we do? Maybe they need a couple days off. If they've worked so many hours, let the person go home early. If they're in the office, you know what? stayed late last night. I want you to get out of here a couple hours early. That will go a long way. So really look at that. And then the last one here, as I always like to talk about, is grow your employees. It's not just sitting here saying this on a video. You need to do it. You need to do it to where promote within. Listen, if you're hiring for a supply chain manager, right, and moving up, and if you have 200-300 employees in there, if you cannot promote them within, something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. Like when I was a manager, the lead always knew your job. You picked out that good person that was your lead, and he was your backup person. So if something ever happened, if you had a surgery, right, that lead could step right up in there. You know what? And if he does a better job at, or she, kudos to them. That's great. Let them do that great job. There's nothing wrong with someone doing a better job than you if you're the manager. That's the kind of what you want on your team. Well, you want somebody that can make decisions. You want while you're gone, you want somebody that can still motivate the team, right? Motivate the team, what they can do, and you're going to see succeed. So on that note, I hope you learned something from here. And I'm telling you, don't let this book underestimate you. It's got a lot of great ideas in there and some checklists, and it brings you back to the basics of recruiting versus sometimes what it is now. So on that note, thank you, everyone. And I will most likely be back tonight. Talk to you soon.